So far, I've talked about chunking content. I've talked about using the flipped classroom model. I've also talked about conveying emotion. The last hack related to design is what I would call enhanced communications. Now, there are different things you can do to enhance communication between you and the student or your participants in an online environment. Even though you are not there with them face to face in the same physical setting, there's still things you can do to stay connected, to communicate well with them. For instance, make it a habit to respond to the email or chat messages you get from your participants within 24 hours. I think you and I have been in situations where we send someone a chat or an email and you don't hear back from them for days. So you begin to wonder, did the message get lost? Or worse, is the person mad at me, which is why they're not responding? So make it a habit to respond to them within 24 hours. And even if you don't have the exact answer or the answer they're looking for, still just acknowledge. Say, oh, thank you for your email. I will get back to you. At least the person will feel like, okay, we're still connected. And if you ask people to post a thought or an answer online, make it a habit to respond and acknowledge the posting. Thank you for the contribution. Remember basic motivational theory, right? Behaviors that are positively reinforced will likely to be repeated, right? So if someone make a posting and they receive some positive reinforcement, they're more likely to post again. But if they post something and no one seems to read it, even though they have, but the person doesn't know that because no one has replied, that person will not be very motivated to post again. Also, make it a habit to send out reminders. For me, in my teaching practice, every Monday morning I send out an email reminder, reminding people what they should focus on for that week, what assignments they should be working on, what they need to pay attention to. Help them to stay focused, to stay on track. In fact, by sending out these reminders, I notice my students do much better in the course. And based on course feedback, they have found that to be one of the most helpful thing that I've done for them, is sending out reminders. Another thing you can do to enhance communication is to set up what I call virtual cafe. So it's basically an online blog or online discussion board where participants can post anything they want. Maybe, a funny joke, what they did this weekend, where to buy something for a good deal. We do a lot of that in the face-to-face environment when we're chatting, but online we don't often get to do that. But you can always create a space, a virtual space, where people can still chit-chat, can still talk about things outside of what you're teaching or what the meeting is about. I also encourage you to set up virtual office hour. So, you set up a time when people, if they want to, can log in and talk to you. They can talk to you about, course materials, but they can also just catch up with you, socialize with you. And quite often my students just want me to pray with them. And that office hour will give them the avenue to do so because they know you're going to be there online for them. Another thing you should do when you're teaching online is to pause frequently and ask for feedback. In a classroom setting, you can usually tell something is not going right by observing people's facial expression or body language. And you would automatically pause and stop and ask them how they're doing. But in an online environment, you don't often see those body language. So you need to intentionally pause and explicitly ask for feedback so that in case something is wrong, something is not clear, students and participants will have an opportunity to raise questions or share concerns. And of course, in an online environment, be sure that you give very clear instruction. Again, in the classroom environment, if you are not being very clear, you usually see it on just the participant's face. They cringe, so okay, you need to be more clear. But online, you don't necessarily have that kind of feedback. So you have to be extra clear, be super explicit in your instructions, give them step-by-step instructions on what they need to do. And also, if you are giving them assignments, be sure to give them a very clear grading rubrics, meaning they know exactly how to earn points and how to lose points. By giving them a good rubric, you are communicating to them very clearly what you expect them to do in the upcoming assignment.